I'm Liz Lumley of Finextra, and we're here at the How to Start a Bank Agility Seminar in London. And today I'm speaking to Victoria Raffe, formerly of the FCA. So you gave a talk this morning to the crowd about whether or not it was the right time to start a bank. So my question to you, is it?
I think so. So the way I expressed it this morning was to say that I think the stars are aligned. I think there's a lot of political will, there's a lot of regulatory will to make things easier. There's some really interesting things that are happening. Studies like the Competition Markets Authority study to look at how to reduce barriers to new entrants. I think funding is easier than it has been for a long time. I think the economy is sufficiently stable to make things easier. The big question I've got in my mind is whether customers are ready to switch, whether customers will actually provide the long-term business to make banks profitable.
So you mentioned regulations, and you're a former regulator yourself. I mean, have regulations been a barrier to entry for new banks?
Yes, they have. They have. There's absolutely no doubt that it was hugely more difficult to become a new bank 2 years ago, and huge efforts have been made in order to make regulators not be a barrier to competition. Having said that, I don't think it's easy, but the changes that have been made, and in particular the way that regulators will support individual firms through meetings before they put in an application, and then support those firms throughout the application. That's one important thing, is that piece of advice, honest advice of giving opinion about how to make the application better. And the second bit is giving firms a license to do business before they've actually built out their systems and done all their funding and capital raising. So massively better than it ever has been.
So, I mean, would you say the regulators are more on the side of the bank incumbents, or are they on the side of the new entrants?
I think the regulators now have it in their objectives to support competition, and they are very focused on doing that. Is regulation on the side of incumbents? I think that's a two-edged sword, because on the one hand, regulation is it's like learning a new language. It is incredibly complicated and difficult and really, really hard to obey all of those rules.
It's often the excuse they give for not being fast and innovative enough.
Exactly, exactly. But on the other hand, those firms that have been subject to regulation for a long time, they have a whole history of things that they need to clean up. And the great thing about new banks is that they've got the clean sheet. And all of them, when you see a new bank, they all say, we have no history, we have no cleanups to do. And that is a great regulatory advantage for them.